cats take a stroll with me this morning. It's springtime. I've been retired now for almost a full year. A couple more months and I'll be there. A whole year. That's the first spring that I've ever had to be at home. And when I was working, I always took vacation this time of year because there was so much work to be done around the property. We got 5.5 acres and a lot of it's well manicured and landscaped. I guess I kind of gained those attributes from my dad. He was a landscape architect and his property was always immaculate, always really nice. Everything was in good shape. So I've kind of taken up that same kind of a challenge with my property to make it very park-like. Built this sign here many years back when I first moved in here. The west wind, because of my trips out west, I wanted the property to kind of reflect like the wind blowing in from the west, blowing in a little bit of western atmosphere here. I don't know how much it does that, but I didn't carve the Indian there. That was actually something my mom found at a garage sale. It was framed on a plaque-like, and so we peeled it off and we just stuck the Indian head on the sign. You'll see the irises are blooming. They're looking beautiful right now. It's Memorial Weekend and everything's in bloom. Let me talk about retirement for a minute. I worked 44 years in my career to get to this point where I could retire and retire successfully. And I am so happy to be at this point in my life because it's awesome. We were watching some millennials on YouTube that bought a van. There's others on there too. And they just kind of threw it all to the wind, and they're going to travel all over the world, all over the country. Go across the U.S., go down to Mexico. No job, no income. Well, the only income they're making is off of YouTube, which, with all the videos I have on there and the amount of subscribers I have, it's merely a supplement to our retirement. It's pocket change. So for somebody to try to live on YouTube, number one, it's not a real stable source of income. It could flip over, fold up any day. But then again, you're going to be on like welfare level unless you're doing like millions of subscribers and views where you can really turn in some cash on that. But if you're a millennial and you're watching, I would say think really long and hard about your retirement and start setting yourself up for it now when you're young, because it takes a long time to build that retirement up. Otherwise, when you get to be my age, you're not going to be able to retire. You're still going to be working. So there's a lot of different options to retirement packages. You get a 401k or maybe your employer has a retirement package, but do it and then put in the time, work, and to where you can get to the day where you can do this too. Anyway, normally, when I was working, I'd take this a week or two off for vacation so I could get stuff done around here and just get everything mowed, mulched, and cleaned up for the season. These iris here were Val's, and we dug them up from our old house, and they do real well here because it is the warmth comes off of the side of the house, and these things are just lovely. They're so delicate and they don't last very long, but Memorial Weekend they seem to really come out in full. We've got some other types of iris here, different flavors. Oh, and you'll see that all of this has been mulched. That was a big job for me, pulling weeds. This is our, what do we call our flower and herb garden. There's a lighter pale pastel purple iris there. But then we've got globe amaranth and status and some snapdragons, all kinds of different varieties. Some peonies back there, some lavender. We got Sweet Annie coming up here. We'll have black-eyed Susans back here. We got Silver Queen. We've got the Japanese irises. We've got hibiscus over here that'll be, you know, 6-7 foot tall, and the purple loose stripe, which is beautiful when it blooms too. So this whole bed is just a sea of color and lovely beauty. But I spent, you know, a good part of my time weeding and mulching that. That was a big job. Glad to get that done. Other thing I got done was the vegetable garden planted, and that's a huge job. Tilling up the soil. I had a little window of opportunity where it was dry, and I got that churned up and got my vegetables, my tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, zucchini, squash, eggplant, and some basil. So, and lots of sunflowers. We love sunflowers, so we planted lots of sunflowers there. Again, all the beds got weeded and mulched, so that's a big job. Pruning some of the shrubs, they need prune. Planted some potted snapdragons there. Val's got a hanging basket up top there. More mulching that was done here along the back. Of course, nobody sees the back, but it's all about details, you know, and if it doesn't get done, then it's one of those things that bothers us, so we make sure we go back and get it done. I had these rocks hauled in from the southern part of the state a few years ago. They're sandstone. They came out of a sandstone quarry. And again, I just wanted kind of the place to emulate some kind of western appeal, and there's always rocks out west in the mountains, so I wanted some nice big rocks in here. And I had those hauled up on a dump trailer. We dropped them in here. We set them in here with this big skid steer and kind of landscaped around them, so those are kind of nice. Plus, the sandstone reminds me of where I grew up in Hinckley, Ohio, where they have the whips ledges, which are sandstone cliffs, probably as high as this house. And you know, as we grew up, that was in our backyard, and we used to go back there and hike along those cliffs, ledges, and explore those caves. And they were all sandstone like this, so it kind of brings me back to my childhood a little bit there. I still have a lot of these irises here. These are like a peach colored iris, and they're going to bloom probably within the next week or so. That one right there is getting ready to open up. But they're lovely too. We've got some lilies and some of the iris have already bloomed this year. And then around the front of the garage, this little rhododendron has struggled for many years, but this year it just has the most lovely big blossoms on it for the very first time ever. And I'm just really tickled about that, because that little plant has really struggled over the years. And we've also mulched right here around the Hemi. What I've been doing too is putting in some new pines. So this is a new pine that was planted last year. And this year I planted that little white pine, another white pine right here, and those are just kind of filling in the borders of the coming up the driveway, so we'll have pines on each side. Then I'm going to take you all the way back behind the pond and show you some other ones that I planted back there this spring. And we have some lilacs ready to bloom here. You'll see we lost these ash trees. These were beautiful shade trees. when they were alive, but the ash borer got them. And you can see the marks on here where the beetle got under the bark and just kind of ate these little designs in here, and pretty much ate away this cambium layer, which is the life of the tree. And so these beautiful big shade trees are dead. Another one right there. I'll have to cut them down this year, but we've replanted. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've been replanting trees here to try to take place of these ones that have died or are dying. Big mess cleaning it. When those things hit the ground, they will tend to explode into a million pieces because they're very brittle, like sticks. I planted this spruce a few years ago, and it's doing real well. You see, it's got some real healthy new growth on it, so it loves it there. I got another pine right here, again along the border. It's this shanty lean-to thing. You know, I had a big tarp I used to put over it, and that way when we had big campouts here on Memorial Weekend, you could sit under here if it was raining. But even the table is showing its age. It's getting rotten, it's falling apart. It's time to put some new boards on it or give up the ghost. There's another little white pine right there. This Norway spruce is doing very healthy, and that's been there for quite a few years now. There's another Norway spruce tucked way in there, and it's got some good candles on it, so it's healthy, it's doing well. We planted this blue spruce this year. It's doing really well. Got huge growth on it. Here's a Norway that I stuck in there. There's another white pine there that's doing okay. For the price we paid for them, they weren't very expensive trees. And then we're coming all the way back to the corner of our property. Another Norway that's looking very healthy. Nice growth on it. It likes it there. And I think that was it, because right here is our property marker, the corner. So everything back here behind us is all conservancy property, what they call Medina Land Conservancy, which means nobody can ever build on it. It just stays like it is as long as it's a conservancy. I suppose that could change in time legally. I don't know what the rules are for that, but people, when they turn over their estates, a lot of time they roll them into the Medina Land Conservancy, where the land is basically used as a conservation area for plants and animals. Well, there you go. That's the property, and other than that, it's been all grass mowing. A lot of grass cutting, a lot of work involved, and with the wet areas we have, down here is a swamp. Back there is a swamp, got the tractor buried back there. I've got some little spruce trees here that the only reason they're so stunted and struggling, I mean, look at this thing, it's like battered. And I'll tell you why. Because the deer come in there when they're in rut. They rub their antlers on there and they just tear those trees up. Another swampy area that I haven't been able to get to mow, and I got buried right there with the tractor. So we call this the alley, kind of on the back of the property here, and it's just kind of an open strip that we mow. Kind of a little yeah, we pick blackberries up along this side here, so we like to keep it nice back here. Well, that's about all I got for today. like I said, it is the Memorial Weekend. We got some things to do today, and I got to go in the house and see if my wife's ready to roll, because it looks like it's going to be a nice day, and looking forward to it. So take it easy, guys, and we'll talk later.